r/AskReddit. Teachers of Reddit, what are some positive trends you have noticed in today's youth? 95% of the things kids used to get bullied for 10 years ago are now largely accepted. When I was at school, the biggest bully used to abuse the nerds while actually boasting that he didn't even know how to turn a computer on. He's really hurting his career by taking cyberbullying off the table. As a health prof, students tend to be drinking a lot more water than when I was at school. Probably around 80% of kids tend to have water bottles, I've noticed now. During my time in school they wouldn't let us have water bottles or any kind of drink in class. Same here, you had 3 minutes between classes to use the restroom, get a drink, switch books, whatever, and quite a few teachers who would tell us we couldn't go get a drink because we wouldn't always be able to just drop what we were doing to get a drink later in life. Also no AC in most classrooms. I remember back in grades 1-5 I always saw people thanking the janitor. My dad would always tell me how that never happened back in his day. Man, the janitor was the most popular person at our elementary school. Probably just because he was a cool guy, but he'd play soccer with the sporty kids any recess he had the chance to. And when he made his rounds cleaning up during lunch he'd impress some kids by picking up bees by the wings. We'd practically jump at the chance to ask him if we could use the broom and pan and clean up for him. It was like a game. Haha. Edit. Nothing makes me happier than all the janitor/maintenance people appreciation going on right now. In high school we had one janitor, and that janitor loved everyone. In turn we loved him back. We found out his wife got cancer and he had to take vacation to stay with his wife. The students pressured the board to give him more vacation, and the students raised about $5,000 for him too. They are not only more open about their own mental health, they are vigilant about their friends as well. Twice I've had students come to me concerned about a peer, once because a girl had started hurting herself and once because a boy was showing hints of suicidal thoughts. Both students are currently doing much better. We found out my daughter was self-harming and had suicidal ideations because her friends spoke up and asked the school counselor for help for their friend. How do you react to that? As someone in your daughter's situation, I'm nervous about my parents finding out somehow. Art teacher here. My 6-year-old students are really good with encouraging statements, absolutely unprompted by us. We were working with Clay and the shyest girl, who had never spoken once, said, "Wow Riley, you did a great job on your bunny. It looks beautiful." Or when a girl cried because hers broke, a student said, "Don't worry Coco, you can repair it. It'll be okay." Just very kind things like that. You wouldn't believe a 6-year-old would have the selflessness to say. I think if you watched some of the shows they watch, especially at that age, you'd find that they're mirroring things they've watched. Shows like Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol are full of examples like this for them to learn from. Daniel Tiger for the win. Kids today are much more open with their feelings. I hear "I love you" so much more, not between kids in relationships, but between friends, no matter the genders. It's an amazing and heartwarming thing to see here. This will be my 4th year working with kids with disabilities. The severity ranges from mild to severe. Not once in my 4 years have I ever had a kid ask, "What's wrong with him?" I've never had a high functioning individual question someone else, and I really like that. Being kinder to animals. Jerks I grew up with used to hit strays with stones and sticks. True, I see this trend even with bugs. I have a lot of kids try to keep or save ants or other bugs they find in the classroom rather than immediately decimate it. Although I will say I've also had kids eat the ants they find because they heard somewhere that ants taste kinda good. They reported back to me that the ants were spicy and that it felt as though the ant was crawling around inside their throat and then stomach. Gotta love middle school. More popular kids stronger, standing up for the weaker/different. Not a teacher, but a security officer in a college. I agree with this. I've experienced a lot of kindness from kids I would say are popular/likes. I never really felt left out or ostracized by them just because I was different, socially awkward. I'd say they're better at forming their own opinions on issues and morals, which I would largely attribute to their access to the internet and thus getting to see and hear a wider variety of viewpoints. I remember when it used to be that my dad likes Bush so I like Bush kind of thing, but now I hear kids have actually individual viewpoints and intelligent conversations about world issues. Plus, I feel like they're more open and honest. It's not uncommon for kids to tell me how they're feeling or what's going on with them in their personal lives or what they think of what's going on with the class or me. Usually all of this without any prompting. It helps me adjust to what they need and feel and want, and also just helps us build that bond. When I was their age, 7th grade, I was a steel trap when it came to talking to teachers about what was going on with me, and pretty much all my peers were the same. I totally relate. I once accidentally called my teacher mom and I still shudder when I recall that. I teach 2nd grade. They are much kinder and they are much better readers than kids even 10 years ago. Kinder, absolutely. My 2nd grader accidentally peed before he had pulled his pants all the way down, went to the bathroom too late. He was mortified to go back to class and was crying while the teacher was looking for something he could wrap around himself. A boy stood behind him to block the sight of his wet clothes. Another boy stood in front of him, and a third boy told him that happened to me once in kindergarten. I was embarrassed too. A single child laughed. When I was in 2nd grade, I can guarantee that everyone would have laughed at me for days or weeks. When I was in 2nd or 3rd grade centuries ago, a similar thing happened to a sweet girl in our class. While some of us were more mortified and not sure what to do, the rest of the class, especially the boys, couldn't stop laughing at her. The teacher had no control over the class and had the poor thing embarrassingly walk out the class. I guess to the nurse's office or something. It must have been really bad. Her parents transferred her out of school and I never saw her again. I wish we had the bandwidth to stand and protect her the way your 2nd graders did their peer. I got to admit, this story made me tear up a little. When kids actually commit to something, they are extremely resourceful. I feel like it's being raised with the internet at their fingertips. My daughter is 4 and her preschool is teaching her Spanish. At home, when she wants to know the Spanish word for something, she asks me to Google it on my phone. It's so crazy. Funny you mentioned that. My grandma was born in the countryside of Argentina and grew up without electricity, let alone TV, until her teens. Now she's living with me and constantly asks me ask the Spanish lady for the recipe of X. The Spanish lady is how she nicknamed Google Assistant. Seems like technology is making some big, positive changes to everyone who wants to learn stuff. Yep, I am getting my degree and I couldn't imagine studying without internet and still get a decent grade. Kids are incredibly intelligent. Because of the internet they have now, they can learn about anything whenever and quickly. They also learn more because parenting is improved, teaching is improved, and so they have so much more research on what they're doing that they become more efficient. The resumes I see from high school students are better than what I had graduating from college. I'd also second that they are much kinder. Some of the things I overhear flabbergast me with how different things are from when I was in high school 18 years ago. We're consistently teaching more life skills in high school as well. We teach resume writing in my senior English class, conduct mock interviews with real companies. Our state requires a financial literacy course for a diploma, etc. Students want to learn. This is something many people misunderstand, especially some teachers. Students want to learn, but education is so slow to respond to society, especially technology, that we're asking 21st century students to learn in a mid to late 20th century pedagogy. My school still argues about cell phone policies. Instead of embracing phones as the amazing resource they are, our district talks about going one-to-one with laptops, when it would make more sense to integrate proper smartphone use into curricula. Honestly, we have almost an entire generation that walks into classrooms with the most important communication and learning device ever created, and we tell them to put them away. Edit. There is a famous quote about schools I like to remember. If you want to walk through a museum, walk around a high school. This is an excellent position. I will never understand why people are so afraid of technology. Empathy. Children today are much more empathetic. I teach 5-6-year-olds and had 3 special needs children in my class this past year, with one being quite extreme. The children quickly picked up that child needed extra attention and would ask if they could help as well. These children give me hope, y'all. Beating heart. They're more aware of the general goings on in the world and have a strong sense of justice. Along with that, as others have mentioned in this thread, they are more accepting of differences. The bully victim trope is less of a thing now, where I am, at least, and kids usually love and let live. The flip side of this is that a lot of kids are getting faulty information and a lot of them carry fairly shocking, uninformed opinions because of what they've heard or read on the internet. Yeah, this second paragraph is sadly very true. I will also say that it's true of many adults as well though lol. In my experience, adults are far worse about being able to decipher truth on the internet than youth. They're more pragmatic about the choices they make, taking measures to reduce the amount of student debt they are going to accrue. They are also much more accepting of people of other cultures, much less discrimination it seems. This is probably going to get lost, but I teach emotionally disturbed kids who can't attend mainstream high school because of their behavior. These are kids that treat the majority of the people that they interact with like shit. They use slurs and swear and can just be all round horrible to each other. We have one kid who's full on autistic, but the parents refuse to have him diagnosed, so he's with us, not in an autism unit. They don't say a word to him. They listen to him rant about chickens and rabbits and even ask him questions about it. It's so bizarre to see kids frothing at the mouth and calling me a ducking dunt and then gently redirecting the autistic kid away. They're so much more accepting of disabilities than my gen was. It's great. I have noticed that my freshmen, for the most part, tend to be very open, I guess is the right word. They seem to readily share their thoughts, ideas, problems, etc. with each other. They put each other's thumb fingerprints in their phones, readily share them, and don't really have anything to hide. They are also super honest and upfront with me. I don't know if this is truly going to turn out to be a positive thing in the long run, but their expectations of privacy are very different than mine. I think it is an offshoot of social media culture. I've said that about my kids and their friends. These generations are unblackmailable. This is a wonderful thing, because so many horrors come from shame and secrecy. There's been so much evil done in the past through manipulating people using shame, from the blackmailing of gays, to self-hatred and its projection. But I can't see it happening anymore. These kids won't have it. They are open about their problems, and they are incredibly supportive of each other during difficulties. They're growing into adults that just are not motivated by those fears or those secrets. It's amazing. I love the young. Acceptance is definitely the biggest one. I teach 8th grade, and had a transgender boy who came out over the summer. One of the most popular boys in school, and him formed an incredible friendship and even dressed as each other one day for fun. The really popular kid is a preppy jock, and the other boy is totally punk rock. And this is just one story of many. Yes, there are still those a-hole kids who target anyone who is different, but they're now in the minority. Collaborative learning through taking class notes on things like shared Google Docs. Students add in comments where they don't understand parts of a lecture, and other students will explain. Edit. Wow, this brought amazing conversation. Thank you for the silver and gold. Fantastic humans. As a teacher, sparking discourse is fantastic. Ask questions and stay collaborative. Friends. I do sex ed for 14-16-year-olds. They always ask how to satisfy the opposite sex and seem less selfish. Probably because TV and movies have made the joke about the unsatisfied spouse for like 30 years. Boomers. I hate my wife. Millennials. I hate my life. Gen Z. Yeet. I'm a 27-year-old teacher of Gen Z kids, and this is so accurate. The most accurate thing is that they forgot about Gen X. We don't talk about Gen X. Boomers making jokes about how boomers lack empathy, even in the bedroom. I hate my wife. Face rolling on the floor laughing. Face rolling on the floor laughing. Face rolling on the floor laughing. I hate your wife too. Grinning face with tightly closed eyes. Grinning face with tightly closed eyes. Grinning face with tightly closed eyes. Nerd geek culture is more accepted. That would mean less bullying, which is great. Perhaps the bullying has just shifted to the kids trying to keep up with outlandish Instagram standards. I would hope that the acceptance of nerd culture would have taught acceptance for being yourself, but it seems like the culture has only shifted. Not a teacher, but I've noticed a thing going around my school that the whole class tends to band together and become like a family. Also, if a random person, whether child, teacher or even parent, harasses one of them, they kinda band and attack the person, usually with words and death threats for the kids. They got us in the first part, not gonna lie. Say what you will about Fortnite, but kids thank the bus driver now way more than they used to. Johnny, thank the bus driver you bought. Johnny has thanked the bus driver. Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more high quality content.